The Brother Bear soundtrack doesn't really get much love. And I talked about this. We did a video on the top 10 Phil Collins soundtrack songs. And this is where I mentioned this song, On My Way. It's a really cool song. It kind of reminds me of Son of Man in that it's like not one of the big pop tunes or a ballad from the soundtrack, but it is just a really cool upbeat song, a coming of age song. It's something that happens in the middle of the movie. I think this is like one of his best soundtrack songs. That's why I put it on my list. I think it's one of his best songs. It's just Phil Collins in that great upbeat movement. It's kind of similar in a way to Hanging Long Enough or Susudio in the sense that it's just very upbeat and positive and happy. And I think it's a great tune. I really do. And Brother Bear gets overlooked. And I think it gets overlooked because Tarzan was so huge. And I talked about this in the last video that Brother Bear came out at the movie Brother Bear came out at Disney's lowest point. Really, it was the end of the Michael Eisner era before Bob Iger took over. And it was, the animation studios had this incredible run with Lion King and Aladdin and Beauty and the Beast and Pocahontas. And then it started to decline. And Tarzan was probably the last successful movie out of that animation era. And then I think I mentioned this, Bob Iger wrote a great book about Disney and his time at Disney. And I think he mentioned that even Brother Bear fell into that window. He specifically mentioned Brother Bear as falling into that window where people weren't really paying attention to Disney animated movies in the way that they would eventually with like Big Hero and of course Frozen and Tangled and Princess and the Frog. And now they're back on top. But there was this low point and Brother Bear came at that low point. And it was also kind of a low point for Phil, unfortunately. The early 2000s, Testify wasn't nearly as successful as other records. And so Brother Bear kind of suffered from that a little bit. And I'm not sure it was a good decision to do this album because Tarzan, to me, it's like you hit it out of the park with Tarzan. Tarzan, people consider Tarzan to be one of his best records across all of his records. They would consider it to be one of the best soundtracks, certainly one of the best Disney soundtracks of all time. So, for all the success that Tarzan had, it's almost like just leave that, don't spoil it. And I felt like he kind of tempted fate a little bit with Brother Bear, but I think he did a great job. I think Look Through My Eyes. What's the other single? On My Way was never a single. No Way Out. Yeah, it's pretty good. I like it. I don't mind. I don't love single soundtracks because there's like pop tune, orchestra song, pop tune, orchestra, another pop tune. There's not like a great listening experience, but On My Way, I think is a hidden gem from this album. So tell me, do you guys like this song? Have you ever listened to this song? I think I have maybe on one of my playlists or something, but it's a little bit, but I think it's great. Oh, I've actually never even seen Brother Bear. My kids have, but I've never seen it.